Hi, it's Sean, the Fluency Awesomeizer. This is Decoding Multi-Syllabic Words, episode 100. Yeah, we made it to 100. To celebrate, I got a really big episode today. We're going to look at 5 words. There's a lot of information, and probably it's going to be my biggest episode yet. So let's get started here. I want you to read these words right out loud. What's this first word? And this one. Pretty big word. The third word. And finally, all right, some big words there. Were any of those tricky to read for you? Keep watching. I'm going to review those words and show you lots of information you might want to recall next time. You get stuck on words like those when you're reading independently. First, a reminder of the fable of the tortoise and the hare. And the moral, slow and steady wins the race, which is great advice when you do get stuck on a big unfamiliar word. I'll use unfamiliar as an example. You think of these words as races. There is a finish line, and if you read like the hare, you might want to get to that finish line first. You'll zip through a big word like this without looking back, and that's where mistakes can happen. But if you read like the tortoise, you take it slow and steady when you come to these words. That patience is definitely going to help improve your ability to decode them. Very important. Keep it in mind. Let's practice. All right. This word looks like it starts with per, right? It's an R controlled vowel sound there. Per. Not to be confused with pre. That R can move around on you when you're reading like the hare. Per versus pre. All right. So this is, I think it's per and rish. There's the word able at the end of this word. Is that perishable? Perishable. You know what? This is perishable. Yeah, perishable is an adjective. And the trick to this word, I think, is the ER. It sounds like it should be AR, perishable. See, you hear that air? Perishable. So the root word is perish. That is a verb. And the origin of that word is way back in the ancient language, Latin. Perire. And there's the origin of the ER sounding like AR. So that's something, again, to remember about ER. Perire in Latin means death. And it was the origin of the old French word Paris. In Old French, that meant lost or shipwrecked. Right? Shipwrecked. That's probably some death going on there in shipwrecks a long time ago. So that's where we get the English word perish. It still means death, but it also means to rot or spoil. Right? Like that's kind of the way that fruit and vegetables die. Put the suffix able on the end of perish, and you have a word perishable, and we use it a lot when we're talking about food, right? Because perishable literally means able to perish, which of course means able to get shipwrecked. No, not get shipwrecked. It means able to rot or spoil. Perishable. Next word I show you, pretty big word. I can see press towards the beginning of this word, so I'll go right to what is looks familiar. Press. There's impress. Now this is the tricky part, I think, right in the middle. Do you recognize that? IO vowel pair. That's unusual. But look at it now. That's the word impression. And there's able. Yeah, this is impressionable. And that's an adjective, impressionable. It's an interesting word. Root word is impression, the noun impression. And the root word of that is impress. Of course, the root of that is press, but you've got the prefix im. That's a Latin prefix im. It means into or in or on. So impress means to press into or onto, literally. Reminds me of playing with Play-Doh. Put your fingers in Play-Doh, make an impression, right? Like a fingerprint. And to make the word impression, we're going to add an ION to the word impress. Let's stop and talk about this SION. That is a Latin root you need to know. You need to be able to recognize when you're reading, but also know how to spell it. Right? It's also, I think of it more of a French root. We have so much French in our English language. Impression in French, but SION has 3 different sounds. It could be impression or impression, depending on how you pronounce it, maybe where you live. But it also has this third sound, jeune. And here's the word confusion, right? And that last syllable of confusion sounds like confusion. It doesn't sound like SION, but all those sounds can be made with SION, so you need to know that, right? So there, with impression, we're going to add the suffix able to get a word that means able to be easily impressed. And impressionable also means easily influenced. And it makes me think of commercials, like on the TV or even in movies and commercials all over the place. that try to influence you and make you buy things you didn't think you need, like this toaster, for example. Suddenly I want to buy a toaster. I am impressionable. Impressionable. All right, the next word I showed you looks like it starts with prop. And then what's that? There is an I in this word. Did you notice that? Eyes, they're so skinny they can disappear. It's very, very easy to do. But that looks like could be pre or pry. It's not peer and it's not per. Like I was saying, that R, when you're reading like the hair, that letter R can flip around on you. So that could be pre. Actually, now it's starting to look like diet. So is that priet, priety, and this is the word propriety. Maybe it's unfamiliar to you, but it is a word. It's an abstract noun, and the origin of that word is Latin too, proprietatem. And in Latin, that meant doing the appropriate thing. And that's the origin of the iet sound in Latin. Became the old French word propriété, meaning individuality. There's another old French word, proprette, that became the English word property, and that's one of the words I showed you in the beginning. So here's property. But there's propriety, and just a real quick illustration, that's how you may have confused propriety with property, that letter R moving around on you. It switched places. That happens a lot. Believe me, I've been a teacher for a long time. It happens all the time. So this old French word propriété, that's where we get the English word propriety. Propriety means decency or being proper. That's why it's an abstract noun. It's not something you can hold in your hand and say, look at this, it's propriety. It's a thing though, propriety. And the last word I showed you, I'm going to start at the finish line. I can see the word eight. There's a lot going on in this word, but I can really familiar with eight. And there it looks like that's not pirate. I was talking about that R flipping around, and that's not proper in the middle of this word. That's pry, right? So that could be priate and appropriate. Oh, you know what? This is the word appropriate. Yeah, this is the word appropriately, really big word, but breaking it up with my fingers like that, I was able to figure it out. It's an adverb. The root word is the adjective appropriate, which sounds like appropriate, right? But there's another word, appropriate, same spelling, different word. It's a verb, appropriate. Both words originate in Latin, appropriatus, meaning to make one's own. And the verb appropriate means to take for yourself, right? To make one's own, to take for yourself. You ever put a pizza out in a table full of kids and everyone's like, give me, right? To take it for yourself. Yeah, appropriate kind of means that. So appropriatus, there's a Latin root of that, proprius means one's own. And that became the old French word propre, meaning neat, fitting, or proper. Yeah. And appropriate, the adjective appropriate, means proper. So appropriate, put ly, the suffix ly at the end, and you've got a word that means properly, appropriately. That's it for today. I know it was a big episode. Thank you for your patience. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook for more decoding videos like this one. Tell a friend, a family member, or a teacher about me too. At my Facebook page, there's a photo album full of reading challenges that I've written. Help you continue practice decoding those big words. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the episode and found it helpful. Come back and see me soon. Bye.